What up brothers, it's Clipper King returning. Welcome back to my channel for another new review. The figure we'll be looking at today is the Marty McFly from Back to the Future 2. The review will be available in 4K, so if that's your thing, please make sure you pick that option. And if you enjoyed the review, please like, comment and subscribe. And I'd just like to state, although I did used to have the original Marty McFly from Back to the Future 1, I no longer have that figure. So there will be some references to it, so when I'm comparing what I think about the head sculpt, but I will say there won't be any comparison style footage with both figures in shot. So let me stop bullshitting and crack on to the full review. Let's move in and talk packaging in under 30 seconds. As you can see, it's just a shoebox style design, average quality cardboard with eye-catching graphics. At the top, as you see, Back to the Future Part 2, moving down an head-on shot of the DeLorean with Marty McFly, Movie Masters Series, MMS 379, 1/6 scale collectible figure. Really nice, nothing I ain't seen a million times before, so I can't score it too highly, but I think the fairest thing to do is go straight down the middle and give it a 3 and a possible 5. Right, moving on to likeness, and I normally start this section really zoomed in close to the head sculpt, and I will do that shortly. I will also film it with the light on and with the light off, and I will also do that section with the hat on and with the hat off. But I wanted to start quite far away because before I received this figure, the sort of pre-order shots, I thought the head sculpt were a little bit too big for the body. Now obviously everybody knows Michael J. Fox or Marty McFly, whatever you want to refer to him as, is quite a short dude. And I think the proportions are pretty good. In fact, I would say they're bang on. I think the hair sculpt makes it look bigger than it really is. So I think when you get the figure posed up, I think the head sculpt is, like I said, perfect. But some of the pictures you might have seen or videos you might have seen, you might look at it and think, fucking hell, it's a bit blown headed. I don't think that's the case, and I mainly think it's down to sort of where you look at him from or how you pose him, position him. For example, as you see, he stood without a stand. I also thought the Air Mags, which are the boots he wears, were a little bit too small. And the body proportions looked all wrong to me. Now, I think that if you actually slightly open his jeans, hutch his jeans down on him, which gives his jeans more a sagged look, it also makes them sit a lot nicer into the boot, which then in turn gives the boot the right proportion and size. And also it means you see more of the pocket hanging out, and then the jacket sort of sits correct or accurate to how it looks in the film. So I think if you're posing the figure correctly, and mainly his clothes, positioning him, also the tilt of the head or where he's looking at, I think the proportions are bang on, and I didn't think that just from the pictures. Right, so moving on to the likeness proper. Bearing in mind, the left hand side of the screen is with the LED on, the right hand side of the screen is LED off. I want to try and match these up if I can, and that will make my point clearer. Now, I'm talking on the footage that you're seeing on the left hand side of your screen, so light on. I think this sculpt in particular, because it's quite softly painted, I think that the LED washes the paintwork out a little bit. So I think that it looks more accurate on the light off image, although you're going to capture more detail with your lights on. So if I move closer still, and we go to there, I think because the light is just basically illuminating all the face, you don't get no depth, you don't get the essence of his cheekbones or how sunk his eyes are, or anything like that. So on the footage I'm seeing through the viewfinder, bear in mind, like I said, it's what you're now seeing on the left hand side, I don't think that looks like Marty McFly at all. Yet if I pull it to the side, again, you're still getting the light bounce off it. You do see the nice strand work through the hair and the details, the pigmentation through his skin, the depth in his eyes. That's because of the light. Now, I don't think you get the money shot on this figure until you get to somewhere there. Now, that to me is Michael J. Fox through and through, because that's where his eyes are looking. I think they've got them dimensions correct. If I move in, I don't want to move too much because it makes it look too shaky. So like there, again, the light's really bouncing off the image. Pull back a touch, it softens the light, and I think the image from there is Marty McFly through and through. again back to the middle. I still think it's good, but what you're basically seeing on the left hand side of the screen is very inaccurate, and why I get so pissed off with some reviews when they're using the lighting that's way too strong. And now we see him with the hat on. Now I will say from the pictures, I didn't like the hat at all. I thought it looks too goofy, although that's how he's pretty much meant to look in the film. It gives him the outfit to look like his son, who's got himself into trouble, if you recall, and he dresses him pretty much like a dog or somebody of his time, which to us is supposed to look futuristic, I suppose, and a little bit geeky. And I think they've captured that nicely in the hat. Now, what I will say is I actually prefer this figure with the hat on. I think it goes together with the outfit better, and I don't know, in hand it does definitely look better than the pictures. Now, I don't want to start banging sort of cliches out that every reviewer uses, because I try and pride myself on not doing that. But I will say, I think if you do get this figure and have him wearing the hat, I think you will prefer the look altogether, because I certainly do. You see the nice paintwork on the hat, gives it that kind of, is it iridescent or holographic look? I think it looks really nice. Now, either way, coming back to the cliches, here's my opinion. In hand, and obviously I'm seeing it through the viewfinder 4 different times. Don't forget that. Light on, light off, hat on with light on with light off. Anyway, there's nothing as good as seeing it with your human eyes. So you've got to trust me on this when I say it's a massive improvement over the first version. The first version had a very dorky look on his face, like he were a dumb fuck, I think I referred to him as in the review. The sort of mouth open and slightly lips pursed. It had that element of sort of surprise on his face, but I don't think it's anywhere near as accurate as this one is. If I'd still got both and I were deciding which one to keep, on the head sculpt strength alone, I would definitely go for this one. And there's other reasons I would go for this one as well, but they'll become clear through this review. Now, I'm going to give you a score, and you might argue with it, and you might use my own evidence against me with what I say. But all I would say is, see the figure in hand and then dispute what I say. I'm going to score it a 5 out and a possible 5, because there's positions and poses you can get this in that makes the head sculpt look flawless. So for that reason, I'm giving it a 5 out and a possible 5. Right, moving on to outfit. And before we start, let's just have a moment's silence and just a little bit of respect for that pose, because it's a fucking beauty. Dipping the toe in the water, left foot on the overboard. It's like when Griff Tannen and the gang are chasing him. That's a beauty. And I think that that expression and head sculpt fits a pose like that. It's a dream. It's a dream boat, it is. Look at that. Beautiful. That's lovely, that. Right, let me stop bullshitting and talk about the outfit. Right, starting off at the top. The hat is sculpted in plastic and then kind of air painted with the certain colours to give this sort of pearlescent or iridescent look. I forget the name of it now. Like the sort of hologram style arts. So it fits on the air sculpt nicely. I will show that when I get to the accessories. But it is a nice touch, and like I said at the beginning, I do prefer it with the rest of the outfit. So the hat is really nice. The jacket, I've said before, there's a couple of pieces in Hot Toys history that stick out in your mind. I think the first Wolverine coat were a good one. I think the first John Connor brown leather coat with the fur collar were a really nice piece. Bane's coat were a really nice piece. And this is another one that goes into the Hot Toys signature garments. Everything about it is really nice. I can't think of how they made this jacket if not like this. To the touch, it feels sort of like the red dots are kind of like tiny little spikes, and then it's set on a rubberized or silicone feeling material. It moves really nicely. You can see sort of the material. You can see it's like a scuba diving suit, I suppose. Looks really accurate with the sort of straps that attach. Obviously it fits him, it shrinks down to fit, and then the attached bit on the shoulder and on the elbow. See the cuffs, and then in there is the button that activates the self dryer. So that's really nice. The pockets on the chest do feel attached, so you can't open those, not that you would want to. But in general, it's just a really nice looking garment. And I will say as well, one thing that they didn't have to do was wire the lower M. So for example, sorry about my big fat hand in way, it is posable at the bottom. So if he's using the hoverboard, like you see, the coat will stay posed. So that is a right touch. Just a plain red t-shirt underneath that. And then he has the light sort of stonewashed jeans. Now the stonewashed jeans feel a little bit low quality and there's no fade in them. I once bought some third-party jeans for my Peter Parker figure which felt a lot better than these do. These are just a flat sort of baby blue coloured jean. They don't really look or feel like the jeans that Marty McFly wore. You'll notice that my button section is slightly open. I position them like that because it makes the jeans sag and go into the boots really nicely. I will also say you can just about see it. He also has a pink pair of pants on. I don't know why, I don't know if that's accurate to the scene, but this figure is wearing them, and Hot Toys figures don't normally have pants on. Another right touch is in real life, these are called Nike Air Mags. They were re-released in 2015, went to auction for the Michael J. Fox Parkinson's Foundation. I do love the look of them. I don't know if I wear them myself, but I think Hot Toys have captured them really nicely, minus the light up sections and the Nike branding or swoosh. Now, I dare say you'll be able to find that somewhere, but even without that, they do look really nicely. And as I stated at the beginning, I thought they looked a little bit too small on the pictures, although when he's posed up, they do work and look really nice. So, the outfit is not that intricate, but every part of it looks amazing and sort of captures the look in the film. I was speaking to Andrew from Keyboard Warriors the other day, and I was saying that the outfit on this, I believe, from the Back to the Future films, I believe this is the most iconic outfit. And by that, I mean, people remember the self-drying jacket more than they remember dudes wearing a life preserver, so his body warmer. People would rush out and buy the Nike Air Mags more than they would the Nike Bruins, which he wore in the first one. So for me, it is a more iconic outfit, although I won't argue and say Back to the Future 1 is definitely better than Part 2 and is the more iconic film of the three. But like I said, Hot Toys have done awesome work here. Do I score it on the strength of how it looks, or do I score it on how intricate it is? I'm going to score it on the representation of the figure. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 5 and a possible 5, because I don't think there's anywhere it could have been improved. Rolling on to articulation, and obviously I've gone for an hoverboard pose. As you can see, getting quite well articulated, both feet on the board, using the flight stand, some nice tight bends in his knees, nice tight bend in that elbow, and then I've got some sort of backward reach on his left shoulder. So I'll start off by saying, so anybody who collects figures will have a rough idea what I mean. It uses the sort of slim, boyish body that Hot Toys do, so he's slightly undersized, height-wise, uses the same body as the first Marty McFly, I would say, something like a Luke Skywalker, maybe a shortened down version of a DX11 Joker, that sort of slim body, maybe Spider-Man. Very nice moving, very little restrictions on it. The only thing I always think with it is a little bit, if it comes tight in the shoulders, just make sure you warm the shoulders up before you move them, because I don't think the hinges are the strongest in the world, although there's absolutely no problem with this one, but that's just something to look out for. So if I start at the bottom, work my way up, like I said, it comes wearing the Air Mags, which do hinder the articulation a little bit in the ankle, but not massively so, because they're quite loose on his shin section, so the ball joint inside does let you move it quite freely, and obviously that will then in turn move the board round because of the space it gives you. Moving up into the knees, as you can see, double bend at the knee, so no restriction there. A swivel at the upper thigh, so obviously you can turn your leg inward and outward. Free range of motion through the pelvis and hips. Slight rotation through the waist, and then a nice crunch, as you see from the side. It's a nice crunch forward, and obviously an arch to his back also. Then up into the mechanisms of his shoulders. They will move forward, back, up and down, and rotate completely. Be careful when rotating his arms because of the jacket. I don't think you're going to be able to damage this jacket anyway because it's so sort of rubberized feeling, but just bear that in mind. Moving down into the elbows, a nice tight double bend joint. I've not got that to the full extent, but it will do it. And then obviously the hands are on a wrist peg, so they will move freely also. The neck joins on a ball joint at the lower neck, and then the head sits on a ball joint at the upper neck, so the head and neck articulation is really nice. Although I will say mine for some reason came with the head sat on the small. If you were to take the ball joint out of the neck, there's a smaller ball, a large ball and a small ball. For some reason this were put on the wrong way, so the head fell off really easy. I'm like, why ain't this head staying on? It was simply because they put the bigger section into the neck, which needed to be into the head. So it was just weird how it came. But like I said, now I've sorted that out, put the correct ball joint in the correct hole, the head does move freely and nicely. Nothing else really I can tell you. Limitless body, like I said, just look out for the outfit in certain places. But because I can't find a pose that it won't do, I'm giving it a very easy 5 out of a possible 5. And that pose is a beauty. Rolling on to extras. Just scan down. Took one of the boots off because I want to display how that works with the overboard. And then got the rest of the stuff here. So let's quickly go through them. It includes the footwear case, which sort of opens, it rotates and opens like such. Obviously there's no branding on it, there's no licensing, so same as the boots, there's no Nike sign or swoosh on that. And to be honest, I can't remember if it did in the film either, but it is a nice inclusion. Moving forward, got a set of wrist pegs and then a variety of hands. So you've got the grabbing hands, the relaxed hands. You've got the left for holding the board, the right for holding the board is on him. You've got sort of a closer hand which will probably cradle the almanac. Moving across, you see the hat in the second air sculpt, which does have a magnet inside, just separate those. So that's the air sculpt, and then the hat sits on top of that. The hat nicely sprayed, picks up the colour. Quite nice. Well, it's not fabric like it were in the film. Got the grey sports almanac. It does look very accurate, and the pages obviously inside can just open your page just to show you. It does have the their real predictions then. That's everything that's happened in the last 30 years. That's what you've got in there. Got the newspaper, again, get nice and close. Gang jailed, overboard rampage, destroys courthouse. You've got the blast from the past bag that the almanac fits inside. And then down here you see, you got the futuristic Pepsi bottle. Again, you know this symbol or the emblem, but there's no branding on it. Tiny little watch, you can see there. Not put that on him because I think it would clash with a jacket. The best accessory is obviously the overboard. Now I've took off one of the boots so I can show you the detail on the boot. As you see, it does have the 3 light system at the back, although they don't light up. Underneath is translucent. Same on the front. Really nicely painted, very accurate looking, apart from the swoosh, and then that section across the strap at the front just above my thumb would light up in the film. It's nice and flexible, as you can see, so you still get leg articulation. You see inside it does have a ball joint. Now the overboard obviously doesn't have the Mattel symbol on it, or the wording should I say, but it is really nicely done. Very accurate looking underneath. Again, really nicely painted. The strap does rotate, so he can put his foot into it and that will turn, and there is a magnet underneath there. But there's also two sections on the boot, so it will grab sort of at the toe section, like so, and also at the heel section. Just get some focus on that. So it does help when you're posing the boot with the board. The magnets are strong, as you can see. So really nicely done. The last of the extras worth talking about is the base. Now the base is nicely done. It has the name plaque on the front, and then the top of the stand does look like a water effect, which I think if you can have it on the overboard, it does look really nice. Massive nitpick with it is the flight pole is massive. It's way too tall. Look at that. It's got the waist grabber on, and he don't float that high off at water. So the stand could really be about half as tall as it is. Another thing I don't like about it is the clasp. I'll move the arm forward. It pushes the jacket up at the back to clasp round him. So I don't like that. I think if it would have been about that tall, and then the cradle on there, or another mechanism or magnet on his back or whatever, and then a section that would grasp onto his back through the jacket, that would have worked better. But you've got to put about 3 or 4 folds in the pole to get him close enough down to the water, because obviously, like I've just shown, if that pose, I've got the waist grab on him, if I were posing it with his foot on the board, he's way too high off the stand. So I don't like the length of that. And when they do give us figures with these sort of dynamic flight stands, they never include the oval standard one. If you want him stood up, it's pretty much undoable with that stand. You just cannot do it. There's no way around it. So you've either got to buy your own stand, or, I don't know, get some decals from somewhere and sort your set out. They should always, always, always include the oval standard Hot Toys stand, and then that should be an option. But like I said, and I think the length of the pole should be an option as well, because I've seen with the NBA figures, when they're that long, to get them as if they're standing up or running, you've got to keep spiraling the flight pole, and then before long it does misshape, sometimes even breaks. And another thing is, when you're trying to bend it when it's screwed in, it sometimes will pull the thread out at bottom at base. So I don't like what they've used for the base. Another thing, the extras, it looks like it's got a lot of stuff, but if you look back through the review, very few of it is stuff that you would really want to use. You're going to have him holding the newspaper? Probably not. You could have him flicking through the almanac, that would be nice. Are you really going to display him with a bottle of Pepsi? Possibly not. Carrying a shoebox when he's already wearing the shoes? Probably not. So you're pretty much going to pose him on the overboard, floating above the water. So for that reason, I do like the interchangeable air and the hat, obviously, as I've stated earlier. But on the extras, I'm just going to give him a 3 and a possible 5. Right, finally, we'll move on to value. And I'll tell you, I paid in the region of 125 on this. It's not the exclusive version, it's just the standard. For that, I think that's a little bit too much. I think this is a figure that should range between 185 and 200. That's shipped. I know Hong Kong sellers are pushing the price up on new release stuff. There's no way around that. You either pay that or you don't get it. Now, I bought this figure with the intention of selling it. I probably will still sell it if I receive an offer, but it's that good that I don't care if I can't sell it. So the value, it is a really good figure, so I find it hard to sort of mark it down on value. But I've said before, these figure prices are getting ridiculous. So at 225, I'm going to give it a 3 out and a possible 5, and that's a generous 3. It doesn't bring enough essential stuff, let's say. It brings all the stuff that I can really think of, but if they really wanted to make this the sort of be-all and end-all for a Marty McFly, how hard would it have been to give you the Night Bruins again, the check shirt, and the, I don't know, the fucking body warmer? So you could have had any version. I know it's set from Back to the Future 2, so they were never going to do that. I don't want to be ridiculous and expect too much, but I don't know. Like I said, the Pepsi bottle and the case for the shoes. The thing is, you can't take his shoes off and display them inside the case because he'd have no shoes on his feet. So that's a little bit ridiculous. But I don't know. Not much more I can say about it value-wise. I've pretty much said it. I think it's overpriced. If you can get one for under £200, then I would say definitely do it, especially if you're a fan of the Back to the Future franchise. That gives the figure a total of 24 out of possible 30, which is a really respectable score nowadays, particularly when it only got 3 for the box. The main categories, so the face sculpt, the outfit and articulation, they all got 5s. So like I said, it's a really good figure. Let me know your thoughts, particularly how you think it compares to the other version of Marty McFly. Sling that in the comment section. I will have a read through. I won't necessarily answer, but it means you guys can get a conversation going. Anyway, another review done. Please like, comment and subscribe. Spread the word, share it on Facebook if you don't already, because I do appreciate any traffic that comes to my channel. But for now, it's the Clipper King, and I'm out of here.